asset return, Africa cannot achieve the sustainable development goals.
Vice President Osinbajo canvasses breaking walls of corporate ownership as key to combating corruption on the continent.
Assuming kidnapping results in the deaths of that person kidnapped. So what is going to happen?
No hiding place for kidnappers. Senate deepens fight, passes life imprisonment bill for corporates. Plus, virtual court sitting is constitutional. Supreme Court declares, strikes out suits challenging validity. Good evening. Welcome to the Network News on the Nigerian Television Authority. I am Ian Ray John. Reading with me tonight are Dotun Okunyemi in Lagos and Musa Abubakar in our Sokoto studio. The presidency is reassuring Nigerians that President Muhammadu Buhari, who dabbles as African Union anti-corruption champion, will not be deterred by baseless opposition criticisms and his firm commitment towards eradicating rampant and chronic corruption bedeviling the country. Reacting to issues raised about the People's Democratic Party since the beginning of the interrogation of suspended EFCC acting chairman Ibrahim Magu, Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said the volume and reach of the anti-corruption crusade so far reflects what the PDP left behind. He said corruption became so normalized by the PDP to the extent of having difficulty in defining what is corruption and theft. Garba Shehu said the large number of cases, both new and old, may appear to be daunting, but PDP, which is now heckling the president, has forgotten that the party bequeathed this to the current administration. He therefore cautioned the PDP to allow the process of investigation and prosecution to work instead of being preemptive about ongoing cases and unduly agitating the public. The presidential spokesman expressed the hope that the judiciary would deal with the cases swiftly and satisfactorily, in a manner that would deter other would-be offenders. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has been speaking on why Africa must synergize to break the walls of secret corporate organizations' ownership in the corruption fight. The Vice President, in his message to the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission's 20th anniversary held via webinar, says the devastating effects of secret and beneficial ownership on African economies requires stakeholders' collaboration to stem the tide. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Breaking the wall of secret corporate ownership is crucial, for as Vice President Yemi Osinbajo observes, secrecy around corporate ownership is implicated in the underdevelopment of Africa, stating that although anonymous companies are not always illegal, nevertheless, secrecy provides a convenient cover for criminality and corruption.
Without effectively combating corruption and illicit financial flows and promoting international cooperation for asset recovery and asset return, Africa cannot achieve the sustainable development goals.
Government, as Vice President Osinbajo says, is demonstrating the political will and support for anti-corruption measures led by the president himself, and the political will has afforded all anti-corruption agencies the latitude to do their work.
In recent times, one of the chief ways that we're seeing more frequently is the use of unscrupulous individuals who are paid to use social media platforms to make outrageous allegations against persons perceived to be fighting corruption. The technique is not new. The idea is to tar everybody with the same brush so that you cannot recognize the truly corrupt or even the truly corrupt activities. We must devise even new legal strategies to ensure that these dirty tricks not only fail, but are penalized.
We all need to take responsibility for the fight against corruption, as we have taken responsibility against infection of COVID-19.
In enlisting public support for the fight against corruption, we have involved the media and the civil society in our constituency and executive project tracking initiative.
The theme of the webinar is combating corruption and illicit financial flows, new measures and strategies. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NTA News.
And away from the State House, the Supreme Court has declared virtual court sittings constitutional. The court struck out the suits filed by Lagos and Ekiti state governments challenging the validity and constitutionality of the virtual court sittings procedure for being speculative in nature without any valid cause of action. A 7-member panel of the Supreme Court, led by Justice Bode Rhodes Vival, declared that virtual court sittings are not unconstitutional. It further held that virtual court sittings are presumed to be valid and has not been declared unconstitutional by the Apex Court. The panel maintained that the chief judges of the states that had issued practice direction provide for virtual sitting when convenient had the duty to enforce the directive.
We just go back, recalibrate, and see what we can do to ensure that the COVID-19 pandemic does not further disrupt administration of justice in Lagos State.
What we tried to do was to entrench the use of technology in our constitution. It wasn't there. So we tried to entrench it. And it has nothing to do with the rules of procedure which the states, Attorney General, Chief Judges were making. No, they are not in conflict. One is a specific provision, the other is a general provision.
In another development, the Apex Court has dismissed an appeal by governorship aspirant on the platform of the People's Democratic Party in Bayelsa State, Timi Alaibe, challenging the emergence of Governor Doyediri as the party's candidate in last year's governorship election. Heading to the National Assembly now, persons found guilty of kidnapping in Nigeria are to face life imprisonment as Senate has passed a bill amending the Criminal Code Act 2004. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Nkwo reports that the bill now awaits concurrence by the House of Representatives.
It was the first plenary of the week with a busy order paper. Prominent among the items for consideration was the report on the amendment of the Criminal Code Act Chapter 38 of 2004, which seeks life imprisonment for kidnapping. The bill also seeks to redefine the concept of rape to include males and to delete statute of limitations on defilement.
Its passage into law will address the lingering issues of statute of limitation in the prosecution of rape as well as defilement cases. Assuming kidnapping results in the death of that person kidnapped. So what is going to happen? Because that guy should face death penalty.
Senate, through a matter of personal explanation by Senator Ibrahim Oloriegbe, Chairman, Senate Committee on Health, commended President Muhammadu Buhari and the Presidential Task Force on the level of commitment towards the containment of COVID-19. Senate drew the attention of the executive on the urgent need for the resuscitation and concession of the Eastern Rail Line project. The motion was moved by the Chief Whip of the Senate, Orji Uzor-Kalu. Senate adopted the report of its Committee on Solid Minerals, Steel Development and Metallurgy on the need for the continuous implementation of policy reforms for diversification of the Nigerian economy through the solid mineral sector. The report was presented by Chairman of the Committee, Senator Umaru Tanko Almakura.
A resolve the executive prioritizing the commencement of the rehabilitation and concession agreement for the Eastern Corridor, a recognition of its huge revenue potential to the national economy.
A national mineral exploration project needs to be funded by the federal government to develop mining blocks to definitive feasibility study, DFS, stage to attract investors.
We want to attract foreign direct investment, but we should have proper processing of everyone or every company or concern that wants to participate in this sector.
Senator Sadiq Umar called for the urgent need to inaugurate diving advisory board and to ensure compliance with statutory regulations. The need to strengthen security in Jigawa State through the establishment of a military base was moved by Senator Ibrahim Hadeja, while Senator Rochas Okorocha called for government's intervention in erosion control in Imo West Senatorial District of Imo State. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives says some individuals and groups have formed the habit of filing what it calls unnecessary litigations against the National Assembly. Such actions, it added, contradicts the principle of separation of powers. Following this development, the House is set to amend the Legislative Powers Act. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Amendments to the Legislative House's Powers and Privileges Act seeks to preserve and guarantee the principle of separation of powers. During the debate on the general principles of the bill, House members cited instances where committees of the National Assembly are taken to court in the course of discharging constitutional functions.
We invite a certain persons, and the next thing you see is they brandish court orders stating the reason for non-appearance is because they will become sub judice.
This bill seeks to insulate the institution of the National Assembly from such unnecessary litigation.
The matter is not ripe for adjudication. It's not ripe for adjudication. It is only upon at the time when the matter has been concluded and signed into law. You don't preempt a matter. Signed into law, then you can go to court and say the matter is illegal, or the bill is illegal or unconstitutional, not before that.
The bill has been referred to House Committee on Justice for further legislative action. 3 other bills, including a bill seeking amendments to the Electoral Act to prohibit electoral commissioners from involvement in partisan politics for a period of 5 years after disengagement from the commission, passed second reading. Plenary also passed a resolution to investigate the purported voluntary resignation of more than 365 soldiers from the Nigerian army, as moved by House Chief Whip Muhammad Tahir Munguno.
It may become a serious security threat and an impending military mutiny that may imperil our democracy, hence the need to urgently tackle this impending menace.
The House is also to investigate recent attacks on communities in Adamawa State following a motion from Representative Gideon Goroki.
Mobile police unit to be stationed at locus to arrest such attacks.
In the meantime, the House has urged federal governments to halt its withdrawal of West Africa school certificates and other common entrance examinations by providing enabling environments in line with NCDC guidelines to hold such exams. House members also called for support to Dr. Okonjo-Iweala's bid for the Director General of the World Trade Organization, as moved by Minority Leader Ndudi Elumelu. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And on security, beyond bullets and bombs, the need to rehabilitate ex-combatants as the fight against insurgency continues is of the essence. Hundreds of the reformed ex-Boko Haram fighters appeared before a judicial panel as a critical requirement for graduation and reintegration into the society. Zara Umar Adamu reports.
The essence of the quasi-judicial process is for the clients to appear before the panel to confess their past, denounce their membership of Boko Haram sect, be loyal and obedient citizens of Nigeria, and to also make commitment to forfeit all privileges that will be accorded to them if they commit any offense. 604 clients took the oath of commitment before the 11-man panel chaired by Justice N.I. Afolabi of the Federal High Court.
The quasi-judicial panel is just to ensure that they still have an allegiance and loyalty to the Nigerian state.
We have tailors, we have shoemakers, as you have seen. In fact, during the last assessment visit by the coordinator of Operation Safe Corridor, we had a town hall meeting with them. They came from the different communities and gave testimonies on their life presently. And a lot of them have trained others.
A total number of 893 clients have so far been admitted at the de-radicalization, rehabilitation and reintegration camp since the commencement of the program in 2016. Zara Umar Adam, NTA News.
And still on security, Chief of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Chuku Buratai, has approved new postings and appointments of 37 generals and 5 colonels to different formations and units in an effort to rekindle the spirit of professionalism in the Nigerian Army. A statement by the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sergei Musa, notes that the posting is a routine exercise intended to reinvigorate the system for greater professional effectiveness and efficiency. Private sector intensifies support for federal government's fight against COVID-19. Details in the next part of tonight's news.
This kind of nonsense has to end today. Why would the bank be removing somebody's money every time like that?
Mr. John.
My neighbor.
Yes, sir. Why are you rushing to like this?
Can you imagine? I just sent money to my son, and I got a debit alert of 15 naira from my bank as stamp duty. I am going to seek explanation from my bank because I made a transfer, not post a letter.
Mr. John, let me explain what stamp duty is. Stamp duty is not all about postage stamp matters. The 15 naira is a stamp duty levy charged by banks on customers who make transfers of 10,000 naira and above from one bank account to another bank account.
And why should I pay stamp duty for my hard-earned money?
Mr. John, paying stamp duty levy is a civic duty for every patriotic citizen. The taxes we all pay are collected and used by the government to pay salaries and provide basic amenities for citizens. It's even easier to make stamp duty payments now. All you need to do as a taxpayer is to log on to the following: www.stampduty.gov.ng or www.firs.gov.ng and click on e-stamping. By the way, Mr. John, it pays to pay your tax, you know.
Oh, thank you very much.
Sir.
Thank you, my daughter.
You're welcome,
My
sir.
regards to your family.
All right, sir.
This broadcast is powered by FIRS, Federal Inland Revenue Service.
It is your civic responsibility as a law-abiding citizen to always pay your tax as at when due. The government provides security and many other social services to make your life comfortable and to create an enabling environment for business to thrive. For tax payment convenience, the Nasarawa State Internal Revenue Service has created the Pay Direct platform and central billing system to generate 10-digit invoice numbers for payment in any commercial banks. Taxpayers can also pay their tax through point-of-sale POS terminals in our designated offices. Nasarawa State Internal Revenue Service solicits with individuals and corporate organizations to log into these platforms for seamless transactions with the Nasarawa State Internal Revenue Service in line with global best practices.
This message is from Nasarawa State Government.
We don't wait tire. Now it don't shell. See as they go to the left, to the right. The defender stand up for ground. Go fight to conquer. Plenty things full ground for you. It not the sweepers like this. No feeling be like this at all. Conquer excitement inside football action. Live sports for GoTV. Enjoyment not in sweet pass to watch. Connect live action for La Liga, Serie A, Premier League, and WWE. As they hot, it don't settle. Get GoTV today for 9,200 naira. Where they come with 1 month GoTV Max subscription to enjoy correct sports with the super sports. GoTV. Live it, love it.
From 5:30 p.m. on NTA. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Access Bank and Baba Ijebu.
Good to have you back. Minister of State, Petroleum and member, APC Edo Governorship National Campaign Council, Timipre Silva, said the people of Edo State, particularly supporters of APC, have agreed to work to reclaim the state back to the progressives' fold. Timipre Silva disclosed this at the APC National Secretariat after a closed-door strategic meeting ahead of the September 19 governorship election in Edo State.
Every South-South APC member is of the consensus that we must reclaim APC because that is our toehold in the South-South, our only toehold in the South-South. And therefore, we are all geared up we will all go to Edo State, and we want to assure you that you should not entertain any doubt that Edo State will be an APC state.
The Minister of State Petroleum added that current development in the price of premium motor spirit, also known as petrol, is as a result of government's bold step to deregulate the sector in the interest of the people.
I agree. The government cannot continue to subsidize fuel with all these trillions of naira. We cannot afford it anymore. And government has taken back seat now. That means market forces will be allowed to determine the price of the commodity.
Let's now talk about the pandemic. The World Health Organization says there will be no return to the old normal for the foreseeable future due to coronavirus, as United Kingdom makes masks wearing compulsory in shops. Adebola Brooks-Linsande has these and more on Global Update.
Director General of the World Health Organization, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, has warned that the COVID-19 pandemic could get far worse if basic healthcare precautions are not adhered to, as there is no hope of returning to the old normal.
Yesterday, 230,000 cases of COVID-19 were reported to WHO. Almost 80% of those cases were reported from just 10 countries. The epicenter of the virus remains in the Americas, where more than 50% of the world's cases have been recorded.
Due to the growing evidence that wearing of a face covering in an enclosed space helps to protect individuals and those around them from coronavirus, the United Kingdom government is to make wearing of face masks mandatory in shops and other closets. Report says Brazilian indigenous citizens are the worst hit by the novel coronavirus. Indigenous people in Brazil often live in communities far from hospitals, area which often lack basic infrastructure, increasing their vulnerability to health issues. The total number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in Nigeria has now exceeded 33,000 after the Nigeria Center for Disease Control announced 595 new cases of the virus. The center also published that the country has also recorded 774 deaths and 13,671 recoveries. The African continent now accounts for about 5% of the global cases of the dreaded coronavirus. The total number of positive cases now stand at 610,807. 13,456 deaths, while 305,861 persons have recovered from the virus. Globally, 13,312,445 persons have been infected with COVID-19. 577,421 deaths, 7,769,423 recoveries. At about 7 p.m. local time, as published by the World Health Organization. I am Adebola Brooks-Linsande.
Many thanks, Adebola. Now, as the coronavirus pandemic rages on, RB Nigeria, through its brands Dettol and Jig, has donated hygiene products worth 65 million naira to the Federal Ministry of Health. This is part of a commitment to realize a global project tagged Fight for Access Fund. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports.
Johns Hopkins COVID-19 dashboard on Tuesday, 30th June 2020, confirmed Nigeria's status as third in Africa of the ravaging pandemic, with prospect of new infections on the rise. This is stimulating interest of RB Nigeria to offer support in the areas of hygiene products for homes, hospitals, and public places. Items donated to Federal Ministry of Health include antiseptic, disinfectants, personal protective equipment, and 100 wash units to be installed at strategic locations, which was handed over to the ministry by RB representative. General Manager RB Nigerian Health, Dayanand Sriram, says the company is committed to playing its part in stemming the effect of the pandemic in Nigeria, while continuing to support the federal and state governments as well as health authorities' efforts in the fight against COVID-19. General Manager RB Ajin West Africa Asif Ashimi further explains that the donation will help curb the spread of infectious diseases caused by germs. He adds that RB Nigeria remains a global manufacturer of homes and hospital equipment and contributing more than 90% in surface and laundry cleaning, thereby containing the spread of germs and other vectors. Minister of Health Dr. Osage Hanure appreciates the donations, noting that the items will be properly documented and declared to the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 for onward distribution to agencies to increase capacity in the fight against the dreaded disease. Harbi has in the last 1 month intensified efforts in curbing the spread of COVID-19 and sustained enlightenment in collaboration with government and units. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Similarly, as the fight against COVID-19 continues across the country, some philanthropists are supplementing government's efforts. The latest gesture of 200 million naira and 3 ambulances to Adamawa State government came from Boa Group of Companies. Yusuf Jika takes up the report from here.
In an effort to fight the scourge of COVID-19, Chairman and founder Boa Group of Companies, Abdul Samad Ishaka Rabiu, has continued to extend hands of fellowship across the federal and state level to ensure a free COVID-19 society. For now, it is the turn of Adamawa State, where he donated the sum of 200 million naira and 3 ambulances to continue with the fight on tracing, identifying and treating the novel coronavirus. Chairman Boa Group of Companies, represented by Dr. Aliu Idihang, while presenting a dummy check of 200 million naira to Governor Amadou Marufintri of Adamawa State, said Boa is meant to serve humanity and has donated items and cash worth over 7 billion naira across the country to further fight a common enemy called COVID-19.
Help the state toward identifying, moving, and also treating the patients and the identified cases of corona pandemic in Adamawa.
Governor Amadou Marufintri, who was excited by the gesture, said the donations will be used for the purpose intended and appreciated Boa Group of Companies for identifying with the state at this trying moment.
Now that economy has slowed down, getting this kind of gesture from individuals and companies, I think, is a welcome idea.
In Yola, Yusuf Jika, NTA News.
Also, the active role played by the Nigerian Television Authority in sensitizing the public on the risk of COVID-19 continues to attract commendation. The latest is from Universal Disaster Recovery Foundation. The organization donated face shields to NTA to protect journalists and the line of duty. Omenka Amarachuku reports.
This is a meeting of 2 groups with similar objectives of promoting good leadership to facilitate national development. On this occasion,
the need for quality leadership in Nigeria, as we have in civilized democracy, one cannot overemphasize that. It's very necessary. There is no better time than now for us to have it. And it has to be very holistic, from the down to the top. No area, no sector should be spared.
The task you have taken upon yourself is not an easy one. So you must show the requisite commitment and determination and courage. And I assure you that if those elements are there, NTA will be there to back you up.
Similarly, the Nigerian Television Authority played host to Universal Disaster Recovery Foundation, where they donated protective items for the frontline journalists.
NTA and FRC, they are one agency that are pioneering broadcasting in Nigeria, and so we thought it is good we share with you people.
It's good that we have an agency like yours
that is able and willing and ready at any time to support the Nigerian people and assist when the need arises.
It is expected that these items will protect the reporters who usually come in contact with the members of the public in the course of doing their job. In Abuja, Omenka Marachuku, NTA News.
With growing concerns over the effect of COVID-19 across the world, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says the global pandemic has created the need for partnership in healthcare delivery. He stated this while inspecting the Nigeria Center for Disease Control Emergency Center in Owerri, Imo State. Bright Ebucho reports.
The siting of the NCDC Emergency Operations Center in Imo State is born out of government's concern towards increasing awareness of COVID-19 in the state. Governor Hope Uzodinma, while commending the NCDC over the project, states that the Emergency Operations Center will further play a major role in addressing issues related to COVID-19 with a view to tackling the disease.
Today I'm very happy with our partners, and what is more, even they are training our staff, people who will manage this facility. They have completed the facility and they are handing over to the state for use. It's something we must thank them for.
Leader of the NCDC team, Dr. Evarestus Anyoko, says the EOC will not only serve the health ministry but also other ministries and agencies of government to achieve a common goal.
We came to Imo State to strengthen the capacity and capabilities of the frontline responders by training them on emergency management response.
The governor was accompanied by the Imo State Deputy Governor, Professor Placid Njoko, and other government officials to the inspection. In Owerri, Bright Ebuchu, NTA News.
In other news, 590 Nigerian evacuees who departed Gatwick North Terminal, England, aboard Air Partner UK are about now arriving Nigeria. In a tweet, Minister of Foreign Affairs Geoffrey Onyema said 261 passengers departed at 1 p.m. local time for the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, while 329 passengers departed at 1:30 p.m. for the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos. He also said Emirates Airline conveying 305 Nigerian evacuees from Dubai, United Arab Emirates, has arrived Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. This is the Network News at 9 on NTA. Dotun in Lagos brings us an update on Medical Guild warning strike and more. Dotun, it's over to you.
Thank you, Iyere. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has appealed to striking doctors in the state to go back to work as dialogue towards resolving their grievances continues. Hinginujan Adams tells us more.
2 days into the strike, the impact can be felt at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, LASUTH, with less vehicular and human presence.
So I guess the government should give it all it takes to just let the doctors come back to work, because we need them.
They should reason with the government and please come back to work because of the promises and this epidemic that is ravaging the country.
So they are requesting for basic things. The basic things needs to be provided.
As Lagosians continue to appeal for quick intervention, the Lagos State government and officials of the Guild are having a series of meetings to arrive at a compromise. Currently, however, the Guild maintains its stance on the strike as against the advice of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
The allowance we're talking about is the COVID additional allowance. It's not the hazard allowance. It's the COVID additional allowance, which I created at my own discretion. Which actually brought some problems, even with my other colleagues, which I created at my own discretion. Which I also mentioned to you that once we first paid it, it was like we're paying people 2, 3 times their salary. And we're like, what's going on? This thing, is not sustainable. And you can go and ask them how much these things were. 2, 3 times in them as an allowance. We said it was not, this pandemic is going to be with us for a long time. So let us sit down and let us even identify who are the real needs.
The 3-day warning strike will be suspended on Wednesday, 15th of July, 2020. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
In the next 10 days, the Third Mainland Bridge will be partially closed to traffic for repairs. It is an inevitable plan that has left many confused and others already taking decisions that might affect their businesses and livelihood. Michael Olaleye reports.
The 11.8-kilometer Third Mainland Bridge is not just an architectural design over waters, but provides intercity connectivity and easy accessibility to various parts of the states. With Lagosians already facing an endless battle with traffic, even with the existence of this bridge, one can only imagine what the situation would look like as from the 24th of this month, when the bridge will be closed for repairs.
We're already experiencing a lot of traffic presently on the Coast Bridge, so the closure of Third Mainland Bridge is now going to add to it.
So that will even cause the COVID-19 to have more effect, because people will be clustered in the traffic, sleep in the vehicle, exchange breath and all that.
For me, I think it's okay if they closure, but other routes should be made motorable, like the Costain is hell. If going through Apapa, coming to Island, hell.
As the ticking of the clock brings nearer this inevitable plan, how to navigate the ever-busy Lagos roads from the mainland to the island during this shutdown is already a source of concern to residents.
That would make me want to consider not coming to the island to run my business. Probably I'll have to, for the meantime, start considering running only in the mainland.
I will advise workers who can get accommodation within Lagos Island to get that, so that they won't be getting to office late. And I will also advise the Nigerian police and the Federal Road Safety Corps to be on standby to control the traffic.
Regardless of the challenges Lagosians are likely to face as a result of the closure, the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing has always emphasized on the need to put safety first in order to forestall the scenario that led to the Genoa Bridge collapse in Italy. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Network News continues after the break.
Stay home data plan. All existing Glow customers now enjoy up to 20% more data. Dial *777# to choose a plan. Glow Unlimited.
Your hogs are a comfy place for dropping in, for lazing around, and hanging out. So we've designed our hugs to be just as comfy, with a soup-absorbent core to lock wetness away and a soft, flexible waistband. Our most comfortable diaper keeps baby comfy at every angle. We'll never stop finding new ways to hug more like you. Huggies, your hugs inspire ours.
She cried. She cried in anguish and in pain. She bears the scourge of her grief. She toils in vain for justice and succumbs to silence. He gloats over his malady. Like a beast, he pounces with no remorse. Her cry meant nothing. Her pain feeds her shame. Like an orphan, she is left to grieve in solitude. But no more will she cry in vain. Her adversaries will henceforth bear the brunt of their bestiality. Rape is evil. Rape is a plague, a pandemic of monumental consequences. We must unite and kick it out of our society.
Connect with NTA and stand against rape and rapists.
This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
From 5:30 p.m. on NTA. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Access Bank and Baba Ijebu.
Many thanks for staying. Yobe State government has again demonstrated another commitment towards taking agriculture to the next level as Governor Mai Mala Buni launched the sales of fertilizer and distribution of 103 tractor units targeting small and large-scale farmers across the 17 local government areas of Yobe State for the 2020 cropping season. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
The launching of sales of 7,500 metric tons of NPK fertilizer at subsidized rate and the distribution of improved seeds as well as 103 tractors as loans for the 2020 cropping season by Governor Mai Mala Buni were meant to encourage youth to engage in agricultural activities while at the same time supporting large-scale farmers in the state with the required implements.
We never seen this kind of thing until this tenure, and we thank them and we thank God for that.
And this agriculture will help most of us, graduate like us, as part of empowerment, because farming is life. Farming is another source of income.
The wisdom behind the initiative, Governor Buni says, is to improve agricultural productivity, promote self-reliance and food security in the state.
As a government, we are conscious of the fact that fertilizer and tractors are necessary inputs for increased agricultural output, especially in areas with climatic conditions such as ours.
To further accelerate the pursuance of state goals in agriculture, the state governor announced that the state government has given a boost to youth farm empowerment program as already 1,000 hectares of land has been harrowed and planted, while fertilizer will be provided free of charge to all participating youth farmers. In Damatru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
And still on agriculture, the federal government's policy on food security executed through the Anchor Borrowers Scheme of the Central Bank of Nigeria and rice production is yielding positive result in Taraba State. This is evident in the sales of over 26,000 bags of rice stocked up from last year's dry season famine. Joseph Zana-Gambo completes the reports.
The Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, RIFAN, is among several groups that has benefited from the Anchor Borrower Scheme of the Central Bank of Nigeria, a federal government policy aimed at boosting massive rice production for local consumption and exports. This policy has yielded positive results in Taraba State with the sales of over 26,000 bags of rice to millers and individuals at a subsidized rate of 11,000 naira per bag.
The advent of this umbrella of rice production is very commendable in terms of acceptability, reliability, support and success it has recorded, which has not only given assurance to its members, but greatly improved rice production in the country.
What farmers in the state require is a necessary tool for them to boost production.
This is the first time a paddy that has been aggregated in a state were allowed to be sold to local millers and individuals in the state. And in those days, the paddy used to be taken to other places.
We have also agreed with all the stakeholders that are going to purchase this rice, that is the millers, the marketers, that this rice will be processed here locally in Taraba and sold to Tarabians.
For the program to be sustained, stakeholders have re-echoed the need for timely repayment of loans by beneficiaries. In Jalingo, Joseph Zana-Gambo, NTA News.
And from Taraba, we head to Sokoto, where Musa will bring us our next set of reports. Hello, Musa. It's good to see you.
Hello. Sokoto State Government has signed an agreement with 8 construction firms for projects worth over 20 billion naira. Abdurrahman Usman Jibrila reports that the firms were presented with checks of 30% mobilization for the commencement of the projects.
The projects were approved at the State Executive Council meeting chaired by Governor Amin Waziri Tambwal, and the process for the take-off of the project has kicked off with the signing of agreements between the state government and the construction firms. 30% mobilization funds were presented through checks to the representatives of the companies. The projects include the construction of the Sokoto State University Teaching Hospital to the tune of over 6.6 billion naira. Others are 2 premier hospitals in Sabon Birni and Tambuwal to the tune of 1.7 billion naira each, 2 flyovers and interchange to the tune of over 7 billion naira. The rest are dualization of the Tashar Ilela to Roadblock Junction with 9 span bridges, 3.4 meters at the cost of over 2.8 billion naira. Ungwa Rogo runabout to Nakasari runabout at the cost of over 700 million naira, and Maituta Road at the cost of over 277 million naira. Governor Amin Waziri Tambuwal at the occasion said the projects will strengthen healthcare system in the state as well as beautify the city to keep to the contractual agreement and ensure timely completion of the work.
Some of the projects you can see are very important, especially in this period of coronavirus COVID-19.
Representative of the constructing firms thanked the state government for the opportunity given to them and promised to use their technical capacities to ensure compliance with the agreements signed. In Sokoto, Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has presented palliatives to 350 victims of flood and banditry in some communities of Goronyo local government area of Sokoto State. The report.
I am pleased with the assistance by the federal government, and we are calling for potable drinking water to be provided in the camp.
Umar Garba of Zangon Maja village is one of the 350 beneficiaries of the federal government's relief package distributed through the National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. The beneficiaries were victims of flood and banditry across some villages in Goranyo local government area of Sokoto State. Items presented to the victims include rice, maize, beans, cooking oil, among other foodstuffs aimed at alleviating their plight.
They should take it in good faith. They should be courageous and utilize what they are given with a view to normalizing their life.
Sokoto State Government and the Goranyo Local Government Council commended the federal government for the palliative, which will go a long way in complementing the efforts put in place at the onset of the incident in the area. The government pledged judicious distribution of the items to the beneficiaries. In Sokoto, Abraham Usman Jibrila, NTA News.
Well, that concludes it from here.
Thank you, Musa. We'll now take a break. Do stay.
COVID-19 and the spike in infections rate. That is our focus on Tuesday Live this week. Join us as experts brainstorms on the rising cases of the pandemic in Nigeria and the way forward. Tuesday Live, incisive and educative. Join us.
The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network. Observe the lockdown. We have practiced the measures in order to curb the spread of the virus, but we can do better. The coronavirus spread is increasing daily, and only together can we cut down the numbers and defeat the spread of the virus. Remember, COVID-19 is not a death sentence, and a recovered patient cannot spread the disease. Do not stigmatize. Do not hesitate to report any case or if you have come in contact with anybody that has been infected with COVID-19. If you have cough and fever, please stay at home and call your state hotline. Find state numbers at www.covid19.ncdc.gov.ng. Remember, it is for your own good and for the good of every Nigerian. Let us do better and defeat the virus. Together, we can do this. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome back. Let's now talk sports. Newcastle versus Tottenham live on NTA Sports 24 on Wednesday. Tamara Ibiwe brings us more on Sports Update.
Over 25 participants have registered for the first National Taekwondo Online Pomse Open Championship, which the Nigeria Taekwondo Federation describes as innovative measures aimed at ensuring fitness levels of athletes. A 5-man team of erudite judges will oversee the online championship from July 31 to August 1.
It's going to be the first ever, I think, in West Africa. So basically, people are going to submit their Pomse videos 2 days to the tournament, and the judging is going to take place live.
In football, action continues on match day 36 in the Premier League on Wednesday, with Burnley awaiting Wolves. Manchester City set to host Bournemouth at the Etihad, while Liverpool visit Arsenal at the Emirates. The fixture between Newcastle United and Tottenham comes up live on the NTA Sports 24 channels, 270 on Star Times GTT, 434 on StarSat, and 731 on Free TV at 6 p.m. And in golf, the remainder of the 2019-20